There is a social mission here. That is a good thing, but it is not going to solve a different problem we have right now. The reason we're stuck in a very low momentum state in crypto and blockchain right now is the lack of regulation that keeps the institutional investor out of this space. For all the excitement about stablecoins and Bitcoin and all the projects and Ethereum on down and Polygon and Miston and everything that's coming, the truth is that none of it is owned by institutions, zero. And so everybody likes to say, yeah, that's not, but sovereign wealth and pension that I service in the indexing business, and there's many people do what I do, we create indices so that they can invest capital. They are waiting for regulation before they index. And so if all that happened was sovereign wealth funds put 1% to 3% into maybe 6 different projects, it would definitely be some Bitcoin, there'd probably be some Ethereum there, maybe some Polygon, maybe a little Solana, whatever they want to do and what indexers would do for them based on market capitalization. That's $1 trillion worth of demand. But none of it is going to happen until we get some policy. And the truth about this is, and I'm happy to just say it the way it is, there are countries that are advanced. There are places like Canada where they allow broker-dealers now attached to accounts, and Canadians can do that. They've got millions of accounts open now. The UAE, Switzerland, France. But the real money, the sovereign wealth capital, is never going to move against the SEC. Never going to happen. And the reason that occurs is that if you're a sovereign wealth fund or a country that's oil-rich perhaps, you're generating $250 million every 12 hours. The only place on earth you can put that is in the S&P. The only way you can do that is being compliant with the SEC rules. They are never going to make a move against the SEC in any way until these rules have been determined. So we are being kept out of institutional capital, and Bitcoin is not going to trade above $22,000 until we get policy. Interestingly enough, and this is a personal speculation, if this stablecoin transparency bill was passed first before the Digital Commodities Act, which is the other big initiative right now, and Jeremy, wherever he is, was the guy that got that done, it'd be like bringing Led Zeppelin back, and he would be the lead singer. Because if that happens, and if it happens, I speculate that all assets, all crypto assets would appreciate overnight by 10% because it would signal the move for policy. So we should all support the initiative of everybody, and there's other people involved in this. You shout out to Sheila Warren and Perry Ann Boring, who spent countless hours educating legislators on the Hill. Their missions are important. I've seen this movie before. The time to be putting capital to work is when there's blood rushing through the streets. And that's happening in crypto right now. All of these bankruptcies, defaults, changes in management, it's a cleansing that's going on. It's a very difficult time to fund new projects, and any valuations that people thought they were going to get 4 months ago are being cut in half, sometimes down 60%. But the good ideas, and the way to look at this, in my view, and I'm fortunate, I spend a lot of time teaching graduating cohorts of engineers, MIT, Waterloo, Temple, wherever they are, Harvard Business School guys. When you meet those cohorts, a third of the class are entrepreneurial. And so I'm doing this selfishly. I like to see their projects before the VCs do. So I'm sitting in the class and we go out for beer afterwards, whatever. Here's what I've come to. I've come to this realization. If you ask them where they want to work, these are the brightest men and women on earth. To get into MIT, you basically need a perfect math score. They don't care what country you were born in. You've got to be the best of the best. And some of those dudes are very eclectic people, I have to tell you. But they don't want to work in manufacturing anymore. They don't want to work in the existing 11 sectors of the S&P. They want to work on the chain. They believe that the biggest opportunity for them personally is to work in this nascent space that, and the analogy would be back at the beginning of the internet when only pornography was streamed. That was it. We're at that stage now, and so My argument is to any investor, you can't pour that much intellectual capital into a space and not expect extraordinary outcomes, because those are the people that are going to redefine industries using this technology. I believe that, and I invest in them. And that's why it's good to put money to work now, because every day another cohort comes out. Remarkably, we're doing some pretty stupid things. We're throwing them out of the country. They stay here, but they go and work in the Caribbean islands or the United Arab Emirates, wherever they can go to. They're the best of the greatest and the best, and we kick them out. That's nuts. It's a different problem. But the investment thesis is you go where the intellectual capital is going. That's why a 20% allocation to crypto at this point, at these prices, is a very good idea. I hadn't announced this yet, but I recently became an Emirati citizen. I'm very proud of that. That's a very enlightened part of the world. 50% of the management there are women. I'm a huge supporter of women entrepreneurs. They're very advanced on their thoughts on crypto, particularly Abu Dhabi, the ADGM. In order to work freely there, it's better to go through the scrutiny of citizenship, which is a heavy scrutiny. If you've had anything that didn't work out in your past, they're going to find it. But the point is, I've gone through that gauntlet for one specific reason. I'm also launching a new fund. It's called Cypher. It's only Web3. My lead investor is from the United Arab Emirates. There's a tremendous amount of capital and interest there to invest in this space. And, you know, in managing the decisions on which projects to invest in, because I'm very fortunate, my deal flow is insane. I see everything. And I have to disclose, I'm a paid spokesperson to FTX and a shareholder there too, because we mentioned them, and big advocate for Sam because he has two parents that are compliance lawyers. If there's ever a place I could be that I'm not going to get in trouble, it's going to be at FTX. So, you know, they're great people, but he gets the joke on compliance, which is why he's working so hard to get regulation. But having said that, picking those projects is really an interesting job because I look for utility. I'm looking for, I think Jeremy mentioned in his keynote, we've got to get away from the speculative price of an asset here. We've got to find reasons that it gets embedded into the economy. And so I'm interested in solutions to, you know, how do we make a blockchain that can actually transact currency? You know, I'm very optimistic about what we've said about Ethereum, but I'm sorry, it's still too slow. And you couldn't work within the currency market with that. It's just too slow.